Continuing our advice for students, 21-year-old Owen Stewart now joins us, and he has a poignant story about making some tough choices that have led him to the life he now enjoys in California. Owen, welcome. Thanks for being here.
Oh, thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Oh, well, it's a pleasure to have you here. You grew up in Louisiana.
Yes, ma'am.
And you've shared that growing up, your dad didn't share the kind of views that you had of the world, and it made
Not
it
at
kind of
all.
difficult. Why don't you explain what's going on?
All right. Basically, from the point of view just being a very young child, my dad was very hateful towards any race other than the white race. He was a white supremacist. He tried to teach me the same way that he was taught, and I knew it was wrong. I've always liked comic books though, and the first one I liked was Superman. And then I got turned on to Captain America, and he showed me that everybody's created equally, and that, you know, a hero doesn't have to have any kind of powers. A hero is just someone who inspires others. So that's what I want to be.
Oh, that's wonderful, Owen. And you are a hero
Thank
to many,
you.
just in breaking away from something that could have really kept you ensnared in so many ways. But when you do that, there are consequences. When you say to your dad or your mom, I don't believe what you believe because I feel it's wrong. So how did you deal with that with your father?
In all honesty, when I told my father that I was moving to California with my girlfriend just to get away from everything and all the racism, he disowned me, so I don't speak to my father at all. I speak to my mom maybe once a month. She's not the same way as him. She's just kind of money hungry and greedy. But my family definitely puts the fun in dysfunctional.
Oh, wow.
So,
Wow, that's, I mean, you're saying it and making a joke in that way too, but I know that there's pain behind that, and I appreciate your sharing, because there's someone else who's dealing with the same kind of thing and is wondering how to deal with it. So you moved out here with your girlfriend. How have you created a new sense of family for yourself?
In all honesty, my girlfriend's family, her grandparents and her mother and even her father, they're very supportive of me. I never had a chance to get a real education. I've never been to high school before. I've taught myself everything I know. And so I started this new school program that I'm in, and they're helping me a lot. And of course, my girlfriend's grandparents support me a lot. They've just told me, you know, I owe it to myself to better my education and live up to my full potential. So I'm just giving it all I have.
Wow.
Taking it one day at a time.
You're doing a great job with that.
Thank
Owen.
you.
What would you say to other students who are hearing your story? If you had one word for them to hold on to, what would that be?
Perseverance. All you have to do is just make it through no matter what gets in your way. There's a quote that I've been living by that I came up with myself when I was 13 years old, and that's, you need to stop seeing the cup as being half empty, stop seeing it as being half full, and just be glad you have a cup.
Wow, that's a great phrase. Great thought. Owen, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good to talk with you.
Thank you.
We've been on location at James Lick High School, giving advice for students here and beyond for success in life. And I'm talking with two young men who have some great stories, Alexander Gutierrez and Cesar Flores, who are with Silicon Valley DeBug. Welcome to you both. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for having us.
Now, a lot of people know the magazine DeBug that is published in English and Spanish 3 times a year, but there's more to Silicon Valley DeBug than that. Can you tell me a little bit about what you do there?
Sure. I do a lot. I try to do a lot. I don't want to say I do a lot, but I teach yoga on Monday nights, and then I'm also working collaboratively with Funk Lab. I don't know if you heard with them, but we actually do a youth organization. We go out, and Alex is actually one of my colleagues.
Pretty much. Me and Caesar are both youth media workers.
Yeah,
just tell you a little bit about Silicon Valley DeBug. Silicon Valley DeBug, we actually work in various sections of media. Like you said, we try and publish a magazine 3 times a year. You can find us on TV, Channel 15, Cree TV. You can also find us on air on the radio, 91.5 FM, KKUP, Cupertino. And our radio show, it's every Wednesday from 9 to 10. It is called Block to Block Radio, hosted by a DeBug member by the name of David Madrid. And also, too, like I said, DeBug, we work with various sections of media. Like, for example, what I'm working on, I'm actually working on a 16-week program with the homeless youth in downtown San Jose. What I do, I go in, I collect creative writing from them, And yeah, you know, it's pretty much it. Just pretty much they're writing all of their trials and tribulations and experiences, and it's actually just being expressed through, you know, writing form.
Right,
you know,
you're a
through
voice in
literature.
many ways, and I know
Yeah.
you also have been active in the hearings regarding the new police chief and the input there.
Yeah,
And many times you've been a critical voice too. Silicon Valley DeBug has, but it's really allowed people to take notice. You work with homeless youth, and Alex, that's something that you have firsthand experience with. Can you share a little bit about what happened, how you wound up being homeless, and how you were
well,
able to turn that around in
Well,
your
me,
life?
I'm actually what you would call a chronically homeless youth. I've been homeless off and on since I was 9 years old, due to pretty much financial struggle. My mother, she was a single parent supporting me and my sister. At the age of 16, I had to get a work permit. I was the man of the house. My father was murdered when I was 9, so that's pretty much the situation I was in. Grew up right here on the north side of San Jose. I'm very familiar with the east side over here with James Lake High School. I used to go to Compa Care Clinic across the street. Yeah, you know, that's just a little bit about me. And pretty much how I came with DeBug was that the family shelter we were staying at, it also had a side for singles. And actually, one of the DeBug members who was actually staying at the shelter at the time, he actually got married, moved on, you know, with his life. But he actually just took me to one of their open meetings. And it's funny because how I started with DeBug, we started with a newsletter called Bug Bites. And Bug Bites, it was just 3 youth from the shelter that he brought in. And we were just doing it as volunteer work, you know. And my freshman year of high school, I had to get some community service hours out of the way, you know, just, you know, try and get my high school diploma. But, you know, I just started volunteering on the east side here as well. You know, went to like Ocala Middle School, Paula Middle School, went to Shepherd Middle School, did volunteering. But it pretty much it started off as volunteering. But after, you know, after a few hours of getting the volunteering done, a few weeks, I actually liked the work that I was doing with Silicon Valley DeBug. I mean, and now it's not really the fact that that, you know, I may get broken off. I may get, you know, some fees for what I do. You know, I make a little money every now and again, but it's not really about the money. It's more about the work that I do. I love the work I do.
And you're helping others, and I'm sure that there are other homeless youth who look to you and say, wow, Alex's story inspires me.
You know, just to be honest with you, I wish it was like that in a lot of cases, but, you know, but just like anyone else, you know, just living the street life, you know, people think they have to live it a certain way just to get paid, but I mean, in most cases, like, that's not the case at all, you know what I mean? And for me to go in there and do the workshops I do and do the work I do, it's up to me to actually have to show them a better way.
Right, and
You
that's
know?
what you're doing.
Yes.
And both of you have found that and stand as examples with that.
Yeah.
Cesar, you have a story too
Yeah.
about making some choices when you were younger that you're not so proud of. So if
Yeah,
you, and
definitely.
we want to be really candid about this because
Yeah.
when people hear that, what you've been through, and then that you're making new choices, then it really resonates. So
Yeah,
what was
definitely.
going on?
Yeah, when I was younger, I was always running with the crowd that would always lead me to trouble. I wouldn't say they got me into trouble because I'm my own person. Like I choose whether or not to get into trouble or not, and I would always choose to hang out with them. And they were more the type that would go into more situations that could get you into trouble. And,
Like what kind of situations?
like drug wise, stealing, stuff like that. You know, we would always run the streets. You know, just like do stupid stuff and just go around tagging and stuff like that. You know, and I would always hear a bunch of people telling me, yeah, you shouldn't do that, you shouldn't do that. You know, even my own sister, which was like 6 years older than me, she basically raised me because my mom was a single parent also. So I would go hang out with my friends a lot, and my sister would be at home, and then she'd be like, oh, I don't know why you're running around with those kids, you know, they're nothing but bad news. And I took it as like, you know, you're my sister, I don't care, you know, what you tell me.
You don't know what you're talking about,
Yeah,
right?
you don't know
You're
what you're talking.
older.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would just go around and just get into trouble, and then when I got older, I started getting into real big trouble. Like I said, because after a while, the drugs that we were doing, it was I used to like just smoke weed or something like that, and then after a while, like it turned into more, you know, and it turned into like, oh, let's do this now, you know, and then like after doing so much drugs, it really harms your body, and at the time I didn't care. I was just like, I don't care. I'm just gonna do drugs because it's fun, you know what I mean? I could go skate and be cool with my friends when I'm high and stuff like that, but in the long run, it really hurts your body. And I witnessed first-hand experience on that because I felt like I messed up my back like forever, you know, because I took a lot of ecstasy pills and stuff like that, you know, and it's really bad for you. It's super bad for you. People glamorize it in all these music videos and stuff like that, like, oh, popping pills, like, you're cool, you know, and it's like, and it seems like you're cool at the time, and even when you take them, they make you feel cool, but with every high, there's always that low point.
If you make it through that,
down.
because there's the deadly
Oh,
reality too,
definitely,
that there's some
definitely.
people who don't even make it through. You feel good
Yeah.
one time, and then there's an overdose, or there's something bad
Definitely.
laced in something, and,
Oh, yeah.
and there's no tomorrow.
Yeah, definitely. That's definitely possible, always, you know. And that's how I felt a few times, you know. So, and when you feel like that, it's heartbreaking, you know, to think that your parents raised you and they wanted you to grow up to be this other person, and you're being this totally different person, you know. And obviously, you're over here experimenting and stuff like that, but honestly, it's not worth it to experiment. And I wish I would have listened to everybody in the past, because the experimenting isn't worth what I went through.
The price that you paid.
Yeah.
So you're 22 now. You've
Yeah.
been clean for 3 years.
Yeah, I feel really good now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what would you say that you hope someone would hear? Because as you said, older people were trying to tell you,
Yeah.
and you didn't hear it, but hopefully someone just hearing your story, like you said, it's heartbreaking, and
Yeah.
all that will resonate. What else would you say to someone to stop them from going down the path that you went?
I would tell them, honestly, if you were a child or a youth,
Right.
I would tell them, you know, it's not worth it. And I know you've heard this from a lot of people, you know, if you are going down this path, because maybe you're not, maybe I could be mistaken, you know, but if you are going down this path, you shouldn't do it, because the price you pay isn't worth what you go through, you know. And I wish I would have listened, and I wish I didn't have to go through all the negative things that I have in order to come to the positive that I've become, you know. So please listen, you know.
Thank you. That's
Yeah.
a powerful message,
Yeah,
and I
thank
hope that you are listening. Alex, you wanted to add something?
Yes, well, just like on what Caesar was talking about, and also what your guest prior to us was talking about, how you know, his sister went to, you know, James Lake, and he grew up on the east side, so therefore all he knew was the east side of San Jose. That's pretty much the issue in a lot of communities in San Jose, whether you grew up on the east side, west side, north side, the south side of San Jose. All you know is pretty much your hood, the neighborhood you live in, you know. So pretty much your friends are just the neighborhood kids, you know. And after a while, like one thing I noticed going to school, like in middle school, that's when friends started getting locked up, juvenile hall, going to California Youth Authority. But one thing I did notice when they got out, there was a change in them. The change in their mentality. They weren't that kid anymore. They were like, and pretty much they were in those beginning phases of becoming institutionalized. You know, and that's pretty sad when it happens to, you know, a lot of friends that you grew up with, you know, that you guys have some good memories with. And a lot of times when, and it does hurt to see your friends, you know, just decline down the hill, just make nothing of themselves, whether they get caught up in drug use, caught up in gang affiliation, but even like how Caesar said, just hanging out with his friends. You know, you could be doing nothing wrong, but just because you're chilling with them, and they might have something on them, you know, some illegal substance on them, or they may have a warrant out or something like that, just for hanging out with them, you know, and the cop just pulls you over, hey, you guys, come here, let me talk to you for a minute. You know, that's guilty by association. So just hanging out with them could bring you down, and it kind of sucks when you have to cut people off. You know, just sometimes that is what it takes. That's what it took for me to make my life better. Yeah. You know, sometimes those friends bring around negativity. And it's like after a while, you got to learn. But I mean, the way I feel about it is everyone learns at their own pace, you know. And it's sad because some people never learn. It's like they're going in a circle, continue the same pattern.
And that's one of the reasons we're doing this show. So hopefully some people will learn and figure, I don't have to go down that road. I can listen to what Cesar and Alex are saying and really make a choice to stay positive, to help my life go in a direction that's aimed for success with everything. I want to thank you guys so much for being here. That's our show. I'm Janice Edwards. Hope that you will take to heart the information that you've heard. If you'd like to contact Silicon Valley DeBug, the information is on our screen, also on our website at bayareavista.com. So thank you again, and thank you again.
Thank you.
All right, we'll see you next time.
All right, thank you very much for having me.
Vista, Vista.